My goal is to teach you everything I know about ClickUp absolutely for free. So if you want to learn more, feel free to check some of the free resources that I put together down below in the description to this video. Again, they're absolutely free. So if you want to get access, you just need to use one of the links in the description. With that said, let's get back to our today's video. So as the next step, we're going to dive into ClickUp Whiteboards. We'll understand again what that feature is, how it works, and how we can use it in our ClickUp account. ClickUp Whiteboards are part of the workspace settings level, or I would say workspace level features in ClickUp. This is why we're reviewing this as part of the ClickUp workspace section of this full feature ClickUp course. And with that said, let's just open our ClickUp account. On the left hand side of your ClickUp, you can either click on the more section if you don't see the whiteboard, or you can see the whiteboard sign like this. You're going to need to click that. And if you remember, this window is kind of familiar to us because we already reviewed the same for the dashboards and the documents. So they actually are managed absolutely the same way. So you have a separate window where you can see all the whiteboards that you've created, right? The whiteboard, what that basically is, if you've ever used Miro or if you've ever used Lucidchart or any other whiteboarding software, ClickUp basically created their own version inside ClickUp. So it has, I would say, a limited functionality in terms of you cannot do as many things as you would do with Lucidchart or Miro, but you can absolutely do some basic things, right? Just map out the simple process, maybe visualize something. And again, as I mentioned, I've already showed you a couple of dashboards or whiteboards, sorry, they're confusing names that I've shared during the course. So one of them is the ClickUp hierarchy. So again, as we're looking at the C here, the button, you can see new whiteboard where you can create the new whiteboard from scratch. Just because I already have them, I'm going to click on one of the existing ones that I have. Let's go with the ClickUp hierarchy. And you can see the whiteboard that I've shared with you previously. Again, this is the one that we started with, understanding the ClickUp hierarchy and all the levels of the hierarchy. And we also reviewed multiple times, I referenced to this waterfall analogy where we discussed how spaces, folder, and lists are interconnected together and how different settings on different levels impact different types or different kind of sets of tasks in ClickUp. As you're looking through the whiteboard, it basically is a way for you to visualize ideas, just like brainstorm ideas with your team, and this is how ClickUp positions it. So if you wanted to have a quick visual like I have over here to describe something to the team, that's probably the way to do it here. If you wanted to, like add a specific image and just, discuss it with the team, you could simply, like I did here, I just downloaded it from the internet, uploaded it or pasted it here, and then just put some text on top of it to give it more context. So it's just a simple version of using the whiteboards. Here at the bottom of the whiteboard, you have all the things or all the components, all the different pieces that you can add to the whiteboard. The first one is you can add ClickUp items. If you click on this thing, again, this basically gives you a full list of all the tasks that you have in ClickUp. You can search for them. You can also add documents inside the whiteboard as well. But the way it looks, if I were to just click on marketing coordinator task, here we go. This task appears as a card on my whiteboard, right? And I can put it wherever I want. I can adjust the size. I think it only widens it. It doesn't kind of expand it fully. But over here, you can again click and quickly navigate to the task itself to see all the information. So if you're using a dashboard to, brainstorm ideas, plan out your week, whatever you're using it for, you can easily, again, include those tasks in here. With the right click, I can also see multiple options for like formatting when it comes to position of this item on the whiteboard. This applies to all the items that we're going to be adding here. And again, for now, I will just simply delete it from here. The next item is obviously the drawing, right? You can basically draw and do whatever you want. Like if you're good at drawing on the whiteboards with your mouse or your keypad, again, that's probably the tool for you. I'm not very good at it, so I'm going to remove it. You can highlight things. Again, there is a marker. You can basically highlight things in different colors here. So again, it can be helpful if you're collaborating with a team and you wrote something down and you want to highlight things, but you also have a laser over here, which basically allows you to present things. So I would say look at this space and then come here, look at this level of the hierarchy and this level of the hierarchy. Sometimes, and by the way, in this videos, I didn't do this because I was switching back and forth, but if you're presenting constantly on the whiteboard, you can easily use this laser here. You can also have different shapes. So again, as I said, whiteboards are very basic. The main reason why you might want to use them is to, visualize something or brainstorm ideas or put some visual together. So there are very standard shapes here, which are like, again, square, ellipse, triangle, and you can add all of them, and as I did with this, organize them in some sort of like a meaningful way so it describes like the story, whatever you want to tell people, right? Or explain something. You can also have arrows, and again, this is helpful whenever you're building like a flow chart. So if I were to build like a step-by-step flow chart, which is very simple, this is what I would do, right? I would just say, Here it is step 1, here is step 2, here is step 3, and so on. Again, this thing is very simple, is very basic, so it doesn't allow you to like create swim lanes unless you overlap things on each other. It's kind of, again, as I mentioned, it's very basic stuff. So if it's something simple that you want to visualize, whiteboards and ClickUp are more than enough. Again, this is what was enough for me to visualize this concept and explain them to you. So probably if you have a similar task that is on your plate, you can use whiteboards for that as well. And you can also have the sticky notes. Again, if that's very familiar to everyone who's using Miro, because they are basically the ones like that position themselves at the time as a like sticker board, online sticker board, or whatever that is. You can also use text. Again, the same thing as you have in Miro, or Lucidchart, or any other whiteboarding tool. You have different frames, which again put together things. So if I were to frame this, again, this is just one frame, two items here, and then this becomes like a one item that I can move around and basically unites the components of the whiteboard. The whiteboard can be pretty big, and again, you can include multiple things here. So using frames can be helpful just to sort things out and make sure that, again, people know what this frame is about. I can even call this and say, this is ClickUp training, let's say lesson number 1, you know, and I can have a different frame that would say ClickUp lesson number 2. Again, you can even color these things just to kind of differentiate between them. This is how the frames works. The other part is the images. Images, you can basically upload whatever you want inside your ClickUp account. So you can upload all the basic images like I did here. What I usually do is I type in something in Google and I would say, let's give it a try, and I would say waterfall image. All right, I would just copy this image and I would paste it on the whiteboard. So it works very well, and you don't have to store anything on your computer. So again, here we go. That's the image. The quality is not best, so probably I had to let it load a little bit, but you can do the same thing with any image on the internet. The other additional thing here is you can actually generate images with AI. So if you were to click here and you have ClickUp AI enabled and you have credits for ClickUp AI, you would type in, for example, team of 5 people working together in an office. Let's see what it does. So again, as it generates the image, you can see little dots going back and forth. So let's just give it a second while it generates it. And we're going to review. There are also templates that you can use in the whiteboard. So if you click on that, if you remember, this is the template manager that we've already seen multiple times. We reviewed the templates for spaces, folders, lists, tasks. Also reviewed it for documents and views. So again, those things are also applying to the whiteboards here. And you can select, there are a couple of pre-built templates by ClickUp, again, for different purposes. Some of them are like analysis frameworks and bar graph whiteboards and 2-on-2 priority and 5 whys and all of that you need. So if you're looking for a specific template, I would probably search here because ClickUp might have created this for you. If not, you can build your own template and save your whiteboard as a template. And while we were looking at this, it actually generated an image with AI. So again, you can see over here, this is the image it has. Even though I asked for 5 people, they're technically 5, but you can see all of them over here, right? So again, this is the images, you can generate them from here, so it makes it a little bit easier to kind of find visual to show the ideas that you want to show. With that said, we also have at the top right corner, we just discussed the template, so I want to show you, if you click on the 3 dots, right? Or if you're navigating this from the whiteboard section here, click on the right click. Actually, you need, I think, to open the whiteboard to templatize it. So if I were to come here, yeah, over here, so you can templatize it. So I didn't see it actually from that view. So you just need to click on the Save As Template. And again, follow the same steps as we did for spaces, folders, tasks, and list. So again, works absolutely the same way. If you want to browse templates, click on here. And again, whenever you're saving it, the same settings apply for sharing it with everyone. And you can even public share these whiteboards to share it with someone outside of your ClickUp account so they can import this template inside their ClickUp account. So that's as simple as that. Again, that's the basic feature we've learned over and over again with all the different parts of ClickUp. Now, as you go to the other settings in here, I don't think there is anything important here except for making this whiteboard favorite. As we discussed, whenever you do this, you can add this whiteboard favorite to your home section. So here in the favorite part of the home section of your ClickUp, you will see your whiteboard and again have quick access to it. So if there's something important, you want people to easily find it, or you want to find it yourself very easily, you would probably favorite it and add it to the home page over here. And other than that, again, you can turn on the full screen mode just to present it to someone. That's basically it for the whiteboard and basic functionalities. When it comes to sharing, again, we've reviewed this multiple times over and over again, and we already know that almost anything in ClickUp can be, first of all, shared with anyone outside of your ClickUp account, right? So if you click on that link and you copy this public link, you can basically send it, email it, text it to anyone, and people without having ClickUp account can access this information. So if there is like a client who needs access to this whiteboard, or maybe a stakeholder or a vendor, whoever that is, you can send them this public link. They can access it without registering ClickUp account. Now, when it comes to your team members and everyone who has access to ClickUp, those people can access your whiteboards just as they can access your spaces, your lists, tasks that you create. This also is part of kind of all the ClickUp functionalities that your members can access. Here, obviously, you can manage their access. So just as we did with the views and with documents and with dashboards, you can manage the access and say if it's an added access or a view only access, because sometimes you can put something together which is, like very important. You don't want people to mess up with this and you don't want people to change anything. Then you can just make people view only access, right? And this way they cannot change and they cannot update this whiteboard. In addition to that, we've also looked at this multiple times, but you can protect this. And by the way, this says this is a protect view, which is technically should be protect whiteboard. But whenever you do this, again, and you type in the message, just as we discussed this in the view section in the view class, where we discussed the views for lists, you can protect the view, but still all the members who have added access, which we just looked at, will be able to change it. They will just see this message that you type in here beforehand. So you can type in something like, please never change this whiteboard. And if the person sees this message and understands what is written, they will not change it. But again, they can still proceed and change things if they have this added permission. So be mindful of that as well. Now let's go back to the whiteboard section here. I just want to emphasize on the location section, right? So you can see over here the location, which tells you where that whiteboard is. You can see the location everything, the location client process first training. This is client process first training as well, or ClickUp. This is different endorsely tasks. So again, each of these whiteboards can be part of a separate location in ClickUp. And just as it works with documents, so does it work with dashboards. The same applies to the whiteboards. If you go to your ClickUp spaces right over here, and you wanted to create a whiteboard that is specific to the list and is located inside that list, you could create it by using the view over here. So you click on the plus view and you find a whiteboard in the list. So whenever you're creating a whiteboard, again, it basically is the same whiteboard, but now this whiteboard is located inside the list, right? If you do the same, you can do this on the folder level, or you can do this on the space level. By the way, when you do this on the folder level, those whiteboards can be also shown here in the sidebar. So again, that's just an additional thing of how you can find the whiteboards. It's only available, I believe, if you're creating this in the folder. I've never tried to create this on the space level. Let's just try it. Here we go. So it also shows you on the space level as well. On the list level though, it only shows you inside as a view, as a separate view. So again, you just want to be mindful of that whenever you're creating your whiteboards inside a specific location in ClickUp. Because one of the reasons why you might want to do this is because you don't want all the people to have access to it. You want to have only people who have access to the list to have access to the whiteboard. So this is probably the way you would go, or the same with the space. If you only want people who have access to the space access this whiteboard, then I would just suggest you creating it inside the space, right? Either as a view from here, like I did here, like ClickUp hierarchy, you can see linking ClickUp tasks, ClickUp members and guests. All of these whiteboards are part of the space, or I could also create them as part of the folder. Again, the same thing, but now only people who have access to the space will have access to the whiteboard. So it makes the permission management a little bit easier and a little bit more straightforward. So this is everything about the whiteboards really. And again, you can collaborate with people here. You can use and update information in real time. So if you have a meeting with someone, you can actually open both of you can open the whiteboards, and you can, brainstorm ideas, put things together here, and you will see what each one of you is doing in this view here. So this is everything about the whiteboards. And again, with that said, we're going to jump into the ClickUp forms.